Hello, this is David Baumblatt from Terabin's Leadership. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. If you were watching, or I guess listening to the last episode, boy, that was pretty choppy. I didn't realize that when it was done, but the video was pretty bad and choppy. The audio, I think, is fine. Anyway, if you made it all the way through last episode, thanks for your support. We'll take a look at this video. Hopefully this video is coming along fine. We'll see. Anyway, what we're going to be talking about is a topic we talked about before, but it's very important. And that is what? We have to talk about the racial topic in America. It's a very sensitive topic. We, and I say we, it's really only white people, get extremely nervous to talk about. But at the end of the day, once you go to these other countries, you'll realize that they are ethno-states. And I make that known when I say other countries. I'm talking about non-Western countries. As you know, I've lived in Germany before. I was stationed with the U.S. Army there. I did my MBA in Switzerland. If you go to Western countries, the political structure is very similar to America. The feminism, the liberalism, you could say the anti-white male rhetoric. The only country I'd say different in the Western world would probably be Israel, which is an ethno-state. So in Israel, they recognize that Israel is a state for, by, and of the Jewish people. Other than that, this is not known in the Western world. But if you go in the non-Western world, like in China, you will realize, man, it is unbelievably different. These are ethno-states. And what does it do? Changes your entire perspective on, what do I keep saying? Nobody treats women, racial minorities, and immigrants better than America. To the point, it's being done at our own sacrifice of particularly white men, but you could also say white women, but definitely white men. So we'll go through a couple of the news here, and then we'll go through the episode here. Now, it's interesting, this topic, and again, this is where I totally agree with Donald Trump about defunding a lot of these globalist organizations, to include the United Nations. Listen to this, because again, it goes back to our topic today. But are you like me? Are you absolutely sick and tired of hearing about the victim mentality in so many different segments? But here we're talking about Black people, African people, slavery. Just not interested in listening to this anymore, especially, like I said, when you realize how good we treat them. Another good reason I hope Donald Trump does defund, or at least meaning stop funding the United Nations from an American standpoint. Let's listen to this.
The history of slavery remains as a plague on our society. Many of the injustices we fight today are symptoms of its atrocities.
I'm here today at the United Nations to speak at the commemoration of the International Day of Remembrance of Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade.
My DNA remembers it as captivity and brutality. My DNA remembers its 2 million ancestors who died at sea. It remembers that before the ships and chains that we were whole.
When we think of reflection, it's thinking in terms of my family history and ties to colonial history.
I don't even think we could watch that whole thing. Let me just, I'm going to end it right there. I'm going to go to this, but we'll go to the next one. But you can't even listen to that anymore. And I would say, generally speaking, and this is what today's episode is talking about, and there's many segments, but we're going to focus on Black people in the West. But we could do so many other topics. But and remember, I keep saying, everything to blame in the West goes to the white man. Everything. Meaning, how, for the same reason that I just said, one, defund the United Nations, we're not going to take it. And two, I basically ended her video. I don't want to listen to it anymore. It's that same thing on a political level, meaning you will either appreciate, we're going to do videos on Asia, particularly one video on a Black person in Asia. You will either appreciate the white man or just leave, go back to your own country. And like I said, once you go to these non-Western countries and you have an impolite attitude, you will be kicked out, deported, sent to jail very fast. So the point being is if you're an African living in the Western world, you need to either realize that, one, the white man has spoiled you and treated you very good, or you have free will. You can go back to Africa. It's not my fault that you look at African people as niggers. I think African people have a lot to be proud of. I think their culture is exemplary. Everything is very special. I think the African country is very beautiful. It's not my fault that you look at Africa as a shithole. I disagree. I think Africa. What's interesting is the country of Botswana. What you'll find is a lot of the military academies, we accept foreign cadets. And I could even go, I have some interesting classmates that are now heads of president in certain countries around the world. But for this one, this wasn't about West Point. This was about Marion Military Institute. If you know my resume, before I went to West Point, I went to Marion Military Institute in Alabama. One of my classmates was from Botswana. Usually the foreign cadets come from very rich families, politically connected families. These aren't the normal ones. But anyway, he's a very high-ranking person in Botswana. It's a beautiful country. So he went to America to get an education. He went to Marion Military Institute. He didn't have to serve in the U.S. military. Sometimes they send these cadets just to go through the military school to get a good education. Then he went back to Botswana. I think he did education also in England. And showing pictures, it's a beautiful country. So again, we'll focus on America. If you're an African American and you look at people from Africa as niggers, I would say you're being very racist. I think the people from Africa are very special. It's a special place. And if you look at Africa as a shithole, I would say that you're also being uneducated and also very impolite. And I'd say again, Africa is a beautiful place with beautiful people. So if you're not content in the West, if you feel like you got a raw deal, go back to Africa. And the excuse is, well, I was born in America. Well, I was born in America too. No one's stopping you. I left to China. That doesn't mean anything. So go back. I don't see Spartan Secure. I don't know what that means. Green siren, rumble loading is oh, I see the green. Okay, I got it. I'm working on there. So anyway, let's go back. I don't know. Is it still going on the rumble right there? Let me see where we are. Just making sure where this thing is going. I'm looking at the rumble to see. I think there's a delay, but that's fine. Let's just keep going on this right here. And 1 second. Hopefully everyone can see this. This is about Charlie Kirk. And I'm just telling you, this whole Charlie Kirk thing, Erica Kirk, I don't think it needs to be a rocket science. Something's going on there. It's very weird. Anyway, this guy, Pat Kirk, I don't know this person who did I guess it's called a parody. Now, a parody is legal. It's not considered defamation. Erica Kirk is considered to be now a public figure. Let me push this up here. Erica Kirk is now considered to be a public figure. She's suing this person. Again, I don't know what this person did the parody. It is what it is. I think about it, free speech. But this guy, Pat Kirk, who knows about me? Who knows about me? I'm waiting probably for him to block me sooner or later. But anyway, let's take a look at what I just said. And he says, I'm sick of what these demons are doing to this poor woman and her children. I don't know if I wrote it on here, but I said, oh yeah, I said, this woman is not poor. Erica Kirk, the amount of money that she makes and the amount of influence, she's probably more powerful, more rich, more famous than probably 99% of American men. So no, I don't consider Erica Kirk to be poor. And guess what else? I don't consider to be Erica Kirk acting in a manner that's a traditional woman in mourning. That's not what a traditional woman does. She's like, man, I'm going to take charge. She's now the CEO. Traditional women are not CEOs. You know what traditional women are? Mothers. I mean, you could like Erica Kirk. It's your thing. But I'm just telling you, back to MAGA. I don't think MAGA understands what a traditional woman is. But let me go see the now I'm reading the comments. Sometimes they're, yeah, it's working, dude. Okay, let me just see here. I'm going to back Zimbabwe, building that. So I'm going back to Africa, Zimbabwe, building a house actually with my wife soon. Hey, Despotic. I don't know if we've met. I assume then you're an African guy. Yeah, it's working, dude. Thanks. Like I said, I've got friends in China. These are white South Africans. They've showed me pictures of South Africa. Oh my God. I mean, it looks beautiful. Now, of course, South Africa can't represent all of Africa. So again, I'm not an expert on Africa, but I could tell you the pictures that I've seen in South Africa, I can understand why it was looked upon as a tourist vacation. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's a shame what's happening politically there, but what a beautiful country. I mean, I could literally see myself also living there if there were different circumstances, but or even as a kid. I just remember watching a lot of African shows. I think it's a beautiful place. But anyway, Africa's a beautiful, but lack of water parts. I see that. Let me go here. Ports are very corrupt. I'm just looking. I'm a white dude, man. Okay. I'm just seeing because I'm looking. Okay, here we go. Let's go to the next one here. So this is another thing where it's just different between, we're going to go, it's interesting. There's two clips here. Let me make sure everyone can see this here. So everyone looks at this guy, Radio Genoya. I understand where he's coming from and I support him, but there is this sense of protecting white women. Now, I'm not into that. So he's like, oh my God, look at these women here. And what do I say? It's interesting because we're going to go to the next clip. I'm like, no, if I had my choice, and let me make sure. And I said, like I said, we don't have a war with Islam, but there's a time and a place. The West is Christianity, and I don't have a problem with Islam. And I think there's a lot of things that white men can learn from Islam as it pertains to feminism. Because feminism is communism, it's evil. Meaning I don't think the Muslims have any problem with feminism. So anyway, if you gave me my choice of having a white woman who is a virgin, who's a Muslim, and yeah, she dresses up in a garbage bag outside. Obviously, I don't know the Muslim traditions, but I assume inside the home she can wear, whatever convenient clothing. But outside she wears a garbage bag, or whatever the hijab is, that gowns. However, compared to a white woman who I guess she says she's a Christian and she's a typical stinky pussy woman with her tits hanging out and she's a whore, yeah, I'll take the Muslim woman. You think I'm wrong? Wait till this clip here. This is pretty interesting. So we just talked about that and people are like, oh my God, I don't want my wife to be like that. Really? I'd rather my wife to be like this than this woman right here. Now, she's a mother. Look at her tits hanging out with her kids. Now, some people say there's nothing wrong with that. Well, interesting enough, the story behind her, and this has just happened to be, but she was having an affair on her husband. Let me see if everyone can see that. She was having, let me go here. She was having an affair. I guess everyone, yeah. She was having an affair on her husband. And I don't know what happened. Something went wrong and she got murdered. Okay, and some people could say that's apples and oranges. I think we should all agree, though. I mean, she was having an affair on her husband. She was cheating on her husband. That was wrong. I'm not implying that she needs to be murdered, but look at her tits hanging out. Remember I said, what a fucking whore? And now it shows that she was having an affair on her husband. Well, we could put those two together, but I don't want the mother of my kids with her tits hanging out right there. And obviously she's a whore having an affair and she got murdered, but there's no doubt about it. Now, of course, if my wife wants to wear something sexy in the bedroom or in private, I get that. But yeah, this, if my wife wore that out in public right there, as opposed to her tits hanging out with everyone else, yeah, I'll take that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not really interested. But anyway, supposedly this woman right here had an affair and she got murdered. Well, I would say is these white women need to have more respect for themselves. Keep your tits in your dress, especially children are there. You look like a whore, not attractive. I mean, unless you want to be a prostitute, then be a prostitute. I don't have a problem with prostitutes. Just be a prostitute then. And then finally, what we're just going to do, the last one here is people talk about privilege. Let me look at the comments. Muslims, ladies dress normal inside the house. Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's obviously a difference what you're being dressed inside the home versus outside. But anyway, this is interesting. I don't know if you guys know this guy. Supposedly he's a Mossad or worked for Mossad. And what did I keep saying? Anyone that is on social media, so hopefully you know this stuff. But anyway, we're going to go because we're going to talk a little bit about Jewish privilege. But what did I say? Anyone that is on social media whose genre or platform is about leadership, politics, religion, any of these big things that influence people. I truly believe you have to go through the gatekeepers. Versus, like I said, it's like, hey man, I'm gonna do a YouTube video and it's gonna be outdoor camping, right? Or hunting, or I don't know, sports. I'm gonna do a boxing channel. As long as it doesn't get into leadership, politics, religion, spirituality, philosophy that influences people, then probably you could say the best people win. Meaning whoever's the ranking, if you're smart, if you work hard enough, you have what's called free competition. But I think if you're in any of these sensitive categories, like I mentioned, if you don't go through the gatekeepers, you're not going anywhere. Meaning we are being controlled even in America. I see Golden Tulip here morning. USA is the only country you can go broke and come out multimillionaire. So anyway, what I want to do is let's look at just a couple of these things. First, let's look at this bullshit here again. And the reason what I said is when I left America in 2010, I had never thought about this or believed this about in terms of the racism in America. But once you leave America and you go to these non-Western countries, what do I keep saying? Nobody treats women, racial minorities, and immigrants better. End of story. And what does that mean? You're tired of hearing the complaining. You're tired of hearing the complaining. So you're tired of hearing this.
To take it upon. No, class consciousness will not save you, white man. No, class consciousness will not save you, white woman. Chanting eat the rich every chance you get will not save you. It will not. You still have to pay your debts and reparations to people of color, to black folk. We have not forgotten. You need to take it upon yourself to liberate yourself from the lies that your rich counterparts have taught you all your life. You need to take it upon yourself to make yourself uncomfortable, removing yourself from the system that you have benefited from your entire life. Front and fucking center.
Can you imagine just listening to a woman like that? How does she get a platform and stuff like that? It's amazing. I see we're talking about Henrik. I don't know much about Henrik. I believe he's of Scandinavian origin. I don't think he's an American. I'll tell you, Godspeed to him. And I believe Lana is his wife. Good for them. I can't imagine how much censorship they've received anyway. But yeah, I'd be happy to be on their show. I don't think he knows anything about me. I mean, there's no doubt when I talk about the censorship that I have no doubt there's a lot of people who don't know anything about me. But are the US politicians, the FBI, a lot of because of course I focus on American entities. Oh my God, they know about me, the censorship. But other people, like I said, Henrik, I've never reached out to him. So I've never reached out to him, never thought about it. But no, I'd be happy if you'd be willing to do it. Let me see here any. They have gold colored beads and reparation. So this is when I say the topic today is going to be about Black people. But before we do that, we just have one quick comment about our sponsors. Let me make sure we see it here. And so before we talk about Black people, and to the Black people who think you are the protected class, think again. Reach out. Hey, sponsor, if you have an email address for Henrik, just in case, send it to me. I'll write him an email. Again, I've always reached out to American entities. And the reason I did it is I'm an American military veteran. So I always expected a sense of loyalty from American entities, obviously from the US government. So I've never quite thought about, Europeans or whatever. Not like you could care, I'm a military veteran, I could care less, but we definitely share in the same topic about what? Faith, family, freedom. Meaning, and I've said many times, what's happening in America, same pretty much thing that's happening in Western Europe, Canada, Australia. So there's definitely an alliance. But if you've got an email sponsor, send it to me. If not, maybe I'll look them up and I'll just send an email and we could talk about at least the white race. I've definitely changed my mind living in China. But anyway, let me see if this is the clip I want to play here.
Well, there you go. I think people say we live in a system of.
Okay, so this is the clip that's going to start out, and the reason I'm making this clip is This is going to be the you could say the official start of the show. Because, and I don't know this woman. It's weird now that I'm social media, which is cool. You meet people that you've never met before, meaning via social media. I don't know who this woman is, but I'm telling you, she's speaking a lot of stuff. Because when I left America in 2010, I could say there were many things I was mentally retarded, meaning the topic of race, the topic of feminism. I mean, I went to Harvard, people. If you've ever been to these Ivy schools, they are so far to the left. So it was really China that opened my eyes. So obviously I don't think she's ever lived in these non-white. So meaning I would be curious. I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's a blue pill, the red pill, the black pill. I don't know what these things called, but we'll just say educated. I'm curious, how or when did she get educated? For me, it was a lot with China. It's a lot with China because, again, it's a fascist country. It's an ethno state, and they don't fuck around. Black Lives Matter. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen in China. So, that was my thing. But watch what she says right here, which is pretty interesting. Let me see. Spartan Secure. Try his Twitter, Telegram, or just donate super chat. Yeah, what I'll do is, Spartan, I'll just look him up on his channel. Maybe there's an email. It's like me. I put my email out open. But anyway, let's listen to what she says. She's pretty much on it because, again, we're talking about white supremacy, which is a joke. We all know it's a joke. But anyway, this is what she says, and I think she's got a lot of truth into it.
People say we live in a system of white supremacy. I'm like, if that was true, you wouldn't be able to open your mouth about white people.
Right. You can't open your mouth about Jews.
Well, there you go. I think Dan Bilzerian's on about this. We live in a system of Jewish supremacy. Yeah. And I agree with him. I'm not about supremacy. Like, if you really want to believe in God and in the value of every human life, then there is no such thing as supremacy.
Right.
But I also don't think that means that we have to let in every fucking third world mongrel that wants to come in here and has no respect.
So she's definitely not speaking politically correct, which is good, which was one of the reasons we also like Donald Trump, which, like I said, Donald Trump is definitely changing more and more to a globalist. But the reason why Donald Trump was such a breath of fresh air is because being politically correct is another professional way of saying you're lying. And so we don't want people to be politically correct. Just be a straight shooter and tell us the truth. But yeah, in terms of what she says right there, that's pretty interesting. But watch it as she still goes. Sparks Studiker, I see the email. I will write him. I'll write him and I'll let you know if he's responded to me. But yeah, I'd be happy to be on his show. And I think we definitely have some similar topics that I could add value to.
Beth can't even conceptualize what we built here.
Right.
And then wants to tell us how we're pieces of shit for having it. Then I'm like, then why the fuck are you here?
You're right.
Get
it
out.
defies all
Yeah, absolutely. Then get out. Believe me, in China, if you're a foreigner and you complain about China, the government, the people, the culture, everything, you are going to be kicked out of that country. You will be kicked out. So when I see these foreigners complain about America, and I'm talking obviously about immigrants, meaning non-U.S. citizens, it's amazing how much we take from them. You go to a non-Western country and act like that, you will be possibly sent to jail, but at the very least, you'll be deported. They're going to kick you out. But in America, and again, why is this tolerated in America? Weak white men. It all comes back to weak white men.
Rationale when you see these people holding up their flags and they're complaining about people being kicked out of this country because they're not citizens, but you're waving another country's flag. It's just
go home.
Yeah,
you'll be happier there too.
Yeah,
you fit in right with the other mongrels. Nobody will care.
Like an evil, like voodoo shithole, right? And they bring these people here and they can conceptualize what America is.
Yeah, and Haiti's another one, and we do have to recognize this is part of it too. Is
let me just say one thing.
If that was true, you wouldn't be able to open your mouth about white people.
Right. You can't open your mouth about Jews.
Well, there you go.
So again, this is what I went so fast we skipped it. So basically, what she's saying here is, if you really ask yourself, who are the most protected class? Because Black people sometimes think that they're the most protected class. The N-word. Oh, I can't say the word nigger. This protect. I believe many times the most protected class are probably the Jews. Why? You don't want to fuck with the Jews. Meaning, obviously the white man is the least protected class. I mean, it's cool. I'd say white women are then just next, in terms of you could discriminate against them, you can make fun of them, you could disparage them. I mean, the white man is basically just the, I don't know what it's called in Mexican where you hit the sombrero, whatever that is. But anyway, it's the punching bag. The white man is by far the absolute punching bag in America. But I would say the most protected class, not blacks, I would say Jews. Let me make sure. I think she said it right here. One more time.
People say we live in a system of white supremacy. I'm like, if that was true, you wouldn't be able to open your mouth about white people.
Right. You can't open your mouth about Jews.
Well, there you go. I think Dan Bilzerian's on about this. We live in a system of Jewish supremacy. Yeah. And I agree with him. I'm not about supremacy. Like, if you really want to believe in God and
interesting. That to be a lot. I mean, Spartans are Jews number one, transgender. I mean, definitely blacks are up there. We know that. But I wouldn't put them as number one. You're right. I never thought about that, transgender. In fact, I should do more videos. You're going to see it, and I think you've kind of feel this a little bit in some videos where there's more and more pressure of particularly white men to date transsexuals, which is basically saying become a homo. Where did that start? It started also with racial, because nobody wants to have a racial preference anymore because everyone's afraid to be racist. I'm talking about like a dating show. So they go to a white man, do you have any preferences on race? When's the last time you saw a white woman or a white man on any of these shows when they said, do you have a preference? They said, yes, I prefer to only date white. Now, of course, if they have a preference to date non-white, that's cool. That'll be like, but how many times have you heard a white man or white woman say, I really only prefer to date white men or white women, right? It's rare. And what's the push? Race doesn't matter. Who cares? Don't be a racist, man. Right? And that's mainstream. We know that. That is absolutely mainstream right now, that race should not be a factor in dating and marriage and children. Otherwise, you're a racist. And guess what happens with communism? The goalpost continues to move. So now we're past race. Now it's like, would you date a transgender? Dude, I'm not gay. Come on, man. Gender, gender is fluid. You don't want to discriminate. You're going to start seeing white guys like, okay, I guess I'll be with a transgender. Think about it. It's the same thing with black people now. It's the same thing. If a white guy or white woman be like, I really don't want to date a black person. Think how it would be. Come on, man. Don't be racist. We're all people inside. Do the right thing. Okay, fine. I'll date a black man or a black woman. I'll have sex with them. There you go. Stop being a racist. The same thing is going to be with and it's going that way. It's starting. But the race now is mainstream. It is, for me to see like a TikTok video or YouTube, to see particularly a white woman too, particularly a white woman who says, "No, I really only prefer to date white men." I mean, that's an oddity, an absolute oddity. Guess where we're going? Now we're going to go into transgender. Oh, would you be willing to date a transgender person? Dude, I'm not gay, but this could be with a white woman or white man. But no, it's not to do with gay. That person is a woman, or that person is a man. And you're like, no, not really. They're still a man. Hey, man, don't be racist. That transgender is a woman, or that transgender is a man. And you're going to see white women and white men. Give it time. I mean, I believe America will collapse before this, but we're going in that direction where the white man and woman are like, okay, I guess so, man. I don't want to be a racist, or I don't know what the term is, transphobic. I'll give it a try. I'll be with a woman as a man, or the woman says, I'll be with a transgender man. That's where we're going, because it starts with race. It's kind of retarded. But anyway, in terms of the supremacy, though, let me go one more time to this video here. And I want to do this video, and then we're going to go to Japan. And Japan is just one example, but I'm telling you, China's even worse, man. And when I say worse, I don't mean worse. We'll just say, I think worse is the wrong name. We're just going to say severe, because I've changed my view on racism. And that's why when people say, David, are you a racist? Yeah, who's not a racist? Now, I do believe everyone's racist, but there's different levels of severity. I believe America's we're at the lowest level. I would believe the non-Western world, and particularly China, they're at one of the highest levels I've ever seen. But is that bad or good? I don't know. I mean, China's very proud that they've been Chinese for thousands and thousands of years. I think we could say that's a pretty good accomplishment. And they could only obtain that accomplishment by being pretty racist. We, on the other hand, our society will crumble because we just didn't want to be racist. So I say again, everybody's racist in this world. There is no one that's not racist, but there's levels of severity. And I said, if you're a white man, particularly a white man from a Western country, that means you have the lowest level of racism in the world. Anyway, let's do one more of these bullshit things right here, how this is tolerated.
Story. Discrimination is indirectly built into. It's time to decolonize, feminize, and rethink all streets. Not to erase history, but just to tell the full story. Discrimination is indirectly built into Brussels. The monuments we pass, the names we use, they reflect histories of inequality, sexism, and racism. Sometimes that history is hidden. Sometimes that history is right in front of us. But why does that matter? It shapes our collective imagination around who is remembered and who is forgotten, making inequality not only social, but also spatial. And that is really important where people with a migration background still face huge discriminations. It's time to decolonize, feminize, and rethink all streets, because tradition is never the excuse to upkeep racist and colonial structures.
Can you imagine a woman like that lecturing me? Like, what are you doing? I mean, could you imagine a guy like me in China lecturing the Chinese not to be racist? And to there's no. Again, I told you this. There's less than 1% of foreigners in China. Could you imagine me in China trying to lecture that? Never would happen. So I want to do these two videos. They're the same video, but there's two videos. We'll see if there's a little different. This is the video. It's going viral. It's an Italian, so obviously a white guy, or should be a white guy. If you're European, you're Italian, you should only be white. Anyway, he's a YouTuber. He's in Japan. He's just doing a YouTube video, and he runs into a black American guy who's over in Japan playing football, American football. Anyway, long story short, guess what happened after this video? He was deported from Japan. They will deport his ass. And oh, by the way, this Negro only pulls this shit on white men. He would not do this to a Japanese because he knows the level of hurt he would go into to do this to a Japanese. But they do it to a white guy. But anyway, you might see this. Let's look at this video, but you already know what happened to this black guy. Not a surprise at all. If this would happen in China, it's gone. It's going to deport him.
Abbiamo preso il fallo, sia io che l'americano.
1 second.
Oi! Japan! Amiga!
All right, let me just do this quick. He says the word amiga, and the Negro thinks he says the word nigger. But then again, even if you say nigger, I mean, in China, I should do my videos because I had a lot of videos saved up on my first X account that's been suspended. But I mean, the Chinese will come up and they will use the English word nigger. They know what it is. The Chinese word is called heiguiza. But anyway, it doesn't matter, even if he said it. But this Italian guy didn't even say the word nigger. He said amiga, and then the black guy thought it was nigger. But this stuff, if this happened in America, this would be like, oh my God, this happened in Asia. And I'm telling you, the Asian people, they don't tolerate this shit. This black guy is lucky that he targeted a white dude. If he would have targeted an Asian guy, like a Japanese guy, it would have been even worse. He would have been sent to jail and said, because I believe the black man didn't get sent to jail. He was just deported. This was a Japanese man or a Chinese man. He would have been in jail and then deported. And he would have got his ass kicked in jail. Anyway, let's keep going.
Abbiamo preso il fallo, sia io che l'americano. Regolare. Palo. Questa era la 7, sì, era la 7. Mio fratello.
Bufalino 420 ha donato 1 euro.
Oh, grazie per l'euro.
Intanto buonasera Luca. Sono entrato adesso, come sta andando oggi?
Oggi
Vedo
meglio.
che la connessione.
So obviously this is the black guy right here. Look, again, if he would have done this to a Japanese man, this would have been dangerous for the black man.
Regge perlomeno, è un buon inizio.
No, mi dissocio. Nah, bro.
You my friend.
Don't be
You.
saying my
no,
nigga,
no,
bro.
you my friend.
No, I ain't no fan.
So again, the black guy thinks that this Italian guy said, "Hey, my nigger," and he never said it. But even if he did, I could care less. But anyway, again, this is in Japan.
Oh.
I ain't no fan, bro. I ain't no fan. This
No,
gonna
wait,
be my
wait.
stick.
That's not cool to say.
Yeah, don't say my
Che
nigga.
cazzo vuole Ma che cazzo vuole No,
Don't say my nigga. Say I'm sorry.
ma you is my friend.
No. Say I'm sorry on the
No,
chat.
you're sorry.
Look how sensitive the Negroes get. And like I said, I agree. Calling someone nigger is a very impolite term, and you should not say it. But I mean, I've been called negative terms. You've been called, and I'm going to fight everyone that said, "Hey, you fucking asshole American." I'm going to fight everyone who says something like that. But no, it's different because it's the N word. And that's just, what do you mean? The nigger word? It is what it is, people. It's impolite. We should generally not do it. But you think I'm going to step on tiptoes here and do that? Because like I said, he does this with a white guy in Japan. He's not going to do this with a Japanese guy. I mean, if the Japanese guy says, "Hello, nigger," guess what that black guy's going to do? He's not going to do what he's doing here. He's not going to put hands on the Japanese guy, and he's not going to threaten the Japanese guy with violence. You're going to jail in Japan for that, just like in China.
No, you're sorry.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry,
sorry.
for saying my nigga, right?
No. This is what I don't like for bad. This is no good. This.
Right. You said my nigga.
No,
right?
no, mi dissocio. No.
What did you say over there?
You said I'm sorry, right?
Sorry.
You're sorry for saying my.
The weird thing is I actually originally thought that maybe the guy said nigger. I mean, I have done some things in my life, of course, some things, many things that I look back, I'm like, that was overboard, that was stupid, that was impolite, and I should apologize. This was not. I mean, this Italian guy never even said the word. He said amiga, and he doesn't even speak English that very well. Like, I really feel sorry for the Italian guy. He doesn't even know what's going on. But this Negro, talk about low IQ and just absolutely just inferiority complex, that when he thinks he hears the word nigger, he's like, I gotta beat people up because I hate being called a monkey, even though I know I am a monkey. I mean, it's just, the whole thing's embarrassing. I would just say, if I had a black kid and they called him nigger, I don't know, maybe sometimes walk away, or maybe try to be polite and just say, listen, you called me the word nigger. It's free speech. You can call me nigger as much as you want, but I just want you to know it hurts my feelings. And if you cannot do it, I'd appreciate it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe try that, or maybe just walk away, or just go back to fucking Africa and try to build up Africa, where white people are like, oh my God, these people are superior, instead of being niggers and always coming to other countries. Because like I said, in Japan, they don't tolerate it. And this guy got deported.
Nigga, right?
I don't speak.
No,
Okay,
you do speak. You said my nigga. I heard you say it.
No, mi
You got
dissocio.
5 seconds to apologize.
No,
Slap
no.
you,
Say sorry.
open hand.
No, okay.
You
Right.
said sorry?
Where you
Say
going?
sorry.
Say I'm sorry for saying my nigga.
You got to remember, this Italian guy doesn't even know what's going on. He's like, what's going on? And this black guy now, I think we would all agree, this black man put his hands on him, is threatening him, is intimidating, and now is what's the word I'm looking for? Stalking him. I mean, the Italian guy had already left the area, and now he's again. If you replaced, I know this for a fact, if this was in China, because again, I've been to Japan many times. But, I could say I'm not a Japanese expert. Oh, I'm a China expert. If this happened in China and that was a Chinese man who said the same thing, but fuck it, he even said the word nigger. He's like, hey, nigger. And that black man put the hands on, I'm going to punch you, stuff like that. Those cops in China are going to come. They're going to arrest that Negro. They're going to throw him in jail. And once he's in jail, who knows what's going to happen to him? And then he's deported. So in Japan, he's lucky. I don't know if he got sent to jail, but he got deported from Japan. I'm telling you, what we take in the West as white men, we are cucks. It's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous. The first thing you have to do is recognize you're an alcoholic. We as white men need to look in the mirror and say, we are cucks. We're lying to ourselves. The stuff that women, and I'm talking white women get away with, the stuff that racial minorities get away with, and the stuff that immigrants get away with never would fucking happen if white men had any sense of testosterone, self-respect, and leadership. Because I've seen other countries, meaning non-Western countries, that would never be tolerated in China. Never. Trust me, I walk around China very polite because I am a guest and they make it known I'm a guest. If you're a good guest, you stay. If you're a bad guest, you're gone, people. We in the West, white men get walked over. It's really good. It's now I actually understand why white women don't want to have sex with white men. I get it. White men also don't want to have sex with white women because they have some stinky pussies. I mean, the whorishness of white women, I get it. But flip side, women are attracted to alpha males. Women are attracted to strong men. Women are not attracted to cucks. And in the West, the reason this has been allowed, there's only one reason. White men are cucks.
Sorry.
Say
Just say I'm sorry.
What you
I'm
gonna do?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
He said he's sorry. He said
sorry.
he's sorry.
It's no problem.
He said
Hey,
he's sorry.
I see per queste parole no.
He said he's sorry.
Okay. Ooh, I should slap you
He said he's
anyway.
sorry.
boy.
He said he's sorry.
Ciao, ciao. Ma che cazzo vuole questo?
He's right. We're going to do one more video, same thing, different. But I'm sure this Italian guy's walking away because, again, he doesn't speak fluent English. He's probably like, dude, what the hell just happened there? What's going on? This black guy grabbing him, threatening him, approaching him. This would never happen if that Italian guy was a Japanese man, because that Negro knows in Japan, you don't fuck with Japanese men like that. I'm telling you, in China, I don't fuck with Chinese men. You don't. You do not fuck. You don't lay a hand on them. You don't do that. You don't realize the amount of hurt that's coming your way. In America or in the West, we get walked. They don't give a shit. They'll rape white women. Fucking hit white man. They don't have respect for us. And I get it. We're cucks.
Ma questo è sto scemo qua. Mi dissocio, ma che cazzo vuole? Che cazzo ha detto questo? Ah, vaffanculo, va sto deficiente. Sto coglionazzo.
We're going to do same video. It's a different one. We'll see if different. But again, it's an amazing, and I should do the video, the follow on where the black guy got deported from Japan. I knew that was going to happen. I was questioning a little bit because it wasn't a Japanese person, but if that was a Japanese person, you're done. It's over, people.
In the street altercation has been deported.
Let me go through.
Nah, bro.
You my friend,
Don't be
you.
saying my
No,
nigga,
no,
bro.
you my friend.
No, I ain't no fan.
Oh.
The African-American athlete involved in the street altercation has been deported. The incident began when a news anchor, upon seeing Malik Stanley, politely greeted him. However, instead of calmly asking what the anchor had said, Malik Stanley turned around, grabbed the anchor by the shoulders, and demanded an apology. A shoving match ensued. From the footage, the anchor was clearly taken aback, appearing both confused and frightened, and could only explain the situation while repeatedly apologizing. Many felt that Malik Stanley's reaction seemed like he was intentionally using the misunderstanding as an excuse to pick a fight, escalating a minor incident into a full-blown confrontation. After the incident came to light, many people argued that even if he truly hadn't heard clearly, he should have clarified the situation first rather than immediately resorting to physical intimidation. Moreover, given that the incident occurred on a street in a foreign country, such behavior not only disrupted public order, but also completely ruined his personal reputation. Currently, Malik Stanley has not responded to the matter, but he may permanently lose his eligibility to travel to Japan.
So we all know if that same incident happened in the West, it would not be a big deal. Well, he's not going to get deported, but in Japan, and he's done. And oh, by the way, Asian people, it's good to be white. Let's just say that. If you're not white, we're talking in Asia. Now, I'm still a foreigner, and I make it known. I'm absolutely a foreigner. I have no rights per se, but it's good to be white. But the point being is if you're a black man in Asia, you better watch yourself, because I'm telling you, the government, the police, the people, they already look at you because they know what's going on in the West. They talk to me. They said, man, why do you let these niggers beat you up and steal your stuff? Like, they see it. They see the media of black people in Europe raping women, in America. They see it. And they say, we are not going to have that bullshit in America or in Asia. So they already know it. But it's amazing what happens. Let me think. Let me see. Sicko. I'm trying to see. The neck is very fried. Yeah. When that guy put him on, grabbing his neck, and then he said something like, "You had 5 minutes or 5 seconds. I'm going to slap you," stuff like that. But I think the key is if we look at that stuff, this is not that abnormal, right? In the West, in America, I mean, the stuff that we get, especially black on white crime and stuff like that. Are we that surprised? The only difference is in Asia, they won't tolerate it. It's just very simple. They're going to send you to jail and they're going to deport you. And that's also smart with the Asian because you can pretty much, one, never become a citizen, and let alone you cannot even become a permanent resident most of the time. So you're foreign, so they'll deport you in a heartbeat. They don't need this stuff. They'll be as soon as you're a black person in Asia, they're kind of looking at you. But as long as you're doing a good job, they'll leave you alone. But they have an eye on you, and you get in trouble, deport, because they're not going to screw around. They're not going to do what white people do, like tolerance, diversity's our strength. You know, the black people were slaves before. We have to be more sensitive to them. They have nothing. They could care less. It's gone. They're going. Anyway, let me see the comments here. Giotis, he's like, geez, you're a big guy. 6'7", 285 ginger, and I don't have those problems. But where do you mean? But where are you talking about? Fuck Japan, their property. Well, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, psychosis, but if you're 6'7", 285, generally speaking, you're not going to have too many problems with men. Obviously, you got to be careful if someone has a gun or a knife, but usually if you're a big guy, people don't screw with you as much. So that's you should thank your mom and dad for those genetics. Asia is a duplicitous bunch of bullshit. By all means, if you tell me more, I'll be able to explain by that. Fuck Japan, their property. Not quite sure. I'm going to explain. I'll be happy to talk about it. Despotic. I got much respect in Zimbabwe, one of my nicknames. Again, I don't have much experience in Africa, but like I said, I've run into a good number, I mean a lot of white South Africans who wanted to immigrate to the West, but it's harder. It's you need more money. There's the visa's harder. So they chose China because it's easier, but they still prefer China over South Africa because they said two things. One, it's safer, and I could vouch for that. The physical violence in China is very low. And they also said economic opportunities, which I could also vouch for, the economic opportunities compared to South Africa. So a lot of white South Africans have left, and yeah, they're in China. Again, it's not like it's their first choice going to China, but they've said it's been overwhelmingly that they've said as a white South African living in China versus South Africa, I mean, that's why they left, and it is there. So the Jews don't like Afrikaners. Might be. I think that was the whole apartheid thing, but I could tell you, during the time, I guess you would say apartheid, South Africa was a phenomenal country, but I think it's probably, I don't know. I keep saying it like the West. I think it's done. We'll see where it goes. Jews only like Jews. Yeah, the Jews are definitely very racial. So you said, when I was in Japan, I was treated like a unicorn half the time and a devil. So it's kind of hard to go. They like white people, but you're a foreigner. I mean, I guess it's like me. So I'm fluent in the Chinese language, and they like white people. So there's no doubt about it. If you're going to be a foreigner in Asia, be white, if you could speak the language. So there's no doubt about it. They appreciate it. But at the other time, never confuse yourself. You are a foreigner. You will always be a foreigner. I don't care if you marry an Asian woman, have mixed kids, were born. I mean, there's sometimes even white people that were born in Asia for some reason. You will, for the rest of your life, being a foreigner. As long as you don't forget that every now and then I've run into some white dudes who've lived in Asia a long time, and they make the mistake of thinking, man, I'm local here, man. This country's me. You know, it could be Thailand, it could be Vietnam, it could be Singapore, it could be Hong Kong. It doesn't really matter, but there's always sometimes you meet these white guys. The wife is Asian, they've got mixed kids, and it's like, dude, I've lived here for 30 years. It doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. But there's no doubt they will give you a better treatment. You speak the language, you've lived, there's no doubt about it. They'll give you a better treatment. But once you cross the line and feel like this is your country, you are a local, you want to be treated like one of them, that is a dangerous path. Where in the West, we get it shoved down our throat all the time, especially Europe. Meaning, I get the point of America. America is a land of immigrants, though we came from America. Those are the people who made it. But I get it. I find it so funny that Europe, you know, you got some gooky girls in Scotland that are supposedly Scottish citizens. They were born and raised in Scotland. They have a Scottish accent. You're not Scottish, though. You're an Asian woman with a Scottish passport. And it's the same thing where I look at Germany or Italy or France. Because the white man is so tolerant, and we should not have done this, we allowed you to become a European citizen. You're not European now. So I hear these people say, I'm German, I'm French, I'm British. No, you're not. You're a black person, an African with a British passport, a British citizenship, which you should be very thankful of the white British people that they're so tolerant. You are not British, because in order to be British, German, French, Swedish, Italian, that means you have to be European. That is a race. And if they can, Mao Chong, as we'd say in Chinese, pass for European, well, then I could pass for Chinese. No one's going to accept me for Chinese. The Chinese people will not accept me for Chinese, and you white people are not going to accept me for Chinese. Why? Because it's called common sense. So, but I see that a lot. I get a little bit in America. I guess maybe Australia or Canada has immigration, but we're talking 90% plus. We were formed by Europeans. But I definitely roll my eyes when I actually think of Europe. That is the home of the white man. If you're not white, then you're not European. And that means, no, you're not German or French or British. You may have a citizenship, a passport that says that, but you're not, I'm German, I'm French, I'm British. I don't give a shit, man. Maybe you were born and raised and you're fluent in the language and you understand the culture. Like me, I could say that a lot about China. I know a lot about the culture. I wasn't born in China, but I'm fluent in the language. I ain't Chinese. They're not going to accept me as Chinese. I'm not going to accept myself as Chinese, and you're not going to accept me as Chinese. That's the fact. Why is this allowed to happen in the West? One reason, the cuck white man. It's everything. Like I said, everything, all these videos, they always go back to the white man is cucked. Now let's look at this other video. Remember what I said before? Let me go back to this video. This was the video I said before where they were talking about race and I couldn't find it. So this is back in this video. Now remember, the guy in the black t-shirt, he's a nigger. He is from Nigeria. He's come to America. Basically, he hit the lotto and he shits on white men. That's one of many definitions of what a nigger is. The other black man, I don't know. I don't know his background, so it's very rude if I call him a nigger, and I shouldn't. I just don't know his background. Maybe he's a polite guy, maybe we know. But the guy in the black shirt, he is a Negro. Let's go with this video.
But the thing is, the thing that's so crazy is that
anytime they talk sideways, it's always us in the peripheral. When they go DEI, it means black people.
To them. But the thing is, the thing that's so crazy is that functionally, affirmative action and DEI mainly benefited white
women.
So we didn't even benefit disproportionately. We actually didn't. And now that we are being hurt disproportionately, because when they say we're getting rid of DEI, it's interpreted by these C-suites as fire all the black people.
Yeah, and then I know I don't know if the lower courts or something, but I know the Fourth Circuit ruling reshaped the organization and approach of DEI, right? I think going up against what Donald Trump was trying to do with DEI, was there a change and movement in that?
I mean, to me, it almost doesn't matter what the courts say, because the way that companies are interpreting it, the way Hollywood is interpreting it, you're hearing all these stories out of Hollywood. Just don't greenlight black stories.
Right.
Just don't hire black actors.
Period.
My sister's an actress. You know, June Carroll, by the way, hire her if you're making a movie. She's amazing. But I mean, it's like they're hiring fewer of us. They're giving fewer of our scripts green lights. They're giving.
And you know what I keep saying about this? We are 350 million people now in America. We keep growing because thanks to immigration. We have, if you don't get this now, you'll never, we passed the Rubicon. We're never coming back together. You hear this all the time. We have to come together. Stop dividing us. They, like the people, they're dividing us. No, they're not. We were never alike. The point being is, and I'm talking racially, religion, culture, and I'm also talking with white people. There are white people. We are not aligned. So we are never going to get, and I even say it, even the 1% military, 1% people serve in the military, we're not united. So the thought of 350 million people in America coming together, it's never going to happen. So when I look at these black people and people say, well, David, what should we do with them? Should we deport them back to Africa? We're past that stage. It's basically America is going to split. It's just going to split. And for the same reason that people leave blue states, they go to red states. But I look at these black people and I'm like, you know, I really don't have any problems with you. It's sort of like you have a wife and you realize that before you had a functional marriage. You are now in a dysfunctional marriage. That's called America. Hey, Europe is not that far away too. Europe is dysfunctional. We are now in a dysfunctional marriage. We're not coming back. We have passed the Rubicon, like I said. I'm not going to fall back in love with you. You're not going to fall back in love with me. It's just we have reached, what is it called, irreconcilable differences now. And so what do? It's time for a divorce. And that's where America, and I don't even know if America is going to split 50-50. It might fraction off into 4 different parts. You know, you got the white liberals, you got the white far right, you got black, who knows? But I would say that the answer to America, but the globalists don't want this. Donald Trump doesn't want this. Washington, D.C. doesn't want this. But I'd say the only thing that's going to happen sooner or later as this marriage, which is called the Union of America, continues to get more and more dysfunctional and more Americans. The next video that I should do is Americans leaving America, where they're just going to stop paying their taxes. That the only thing we can do is it's just time to split. And there's going to be certain states in America that's basically going to be run by the white man. And I would tell people like that, I'm sorry, but you're not welcome here anymore. This, through diversity, we have destroyed America. We are now retreating to our state. We don't want to destroy our state. We are going to allow, for lack of a better word, allow the white man is going to lead. And we don't want diversity. But, you know, best of luck. Maybe the blacks will take other states in America and good luck to them. I have no issues with them. But people would say, where's this going? Because you got to use common sense. Let me push this down. Let's use common sense. For the last 100 years or more, how have women's rights happened in America? Women's rights have increased. What about racial minorities? They've also increased. What about immigrants? Their rights have increased. Remember I was talking about the 3 groups? So we can all agree that in America, women, racial minorities, and immigrants, their rights and privileges and benefits and status have all increased. And how's America? How are our relations with race relations, men and women relations? American, it's getting worse and worse. It's worse and worse and worse. And it's not going to get better. And until people think maybe the solution is, it's just time to go. But like I said, that would be my solution with these people. It's just time for lack of a better word, a national divorce. And until then, more people next video are going to be like, hey, we're just going to leave. And at least the good thing about that is we're not paying taxes. But the big question is, where do we go as a white man? That's difficult. It's a difficult question. Where do you go? Because what's happening in America is also happening in Western Europe. So there are these similar problems. But sooner or later, white men, and I've said this before, think about the draft where I'm showing you the system. Look at this war with Iran. You think now as a white man, you're like, yeah, I'm going to sign up for the draft. I'm going to die for America. Meaning what I'm saying is just like taxes, more and more white men are going to check out of the system. They're going to check out of the system. For me, I mean, I left in 2010. That's a total checkout. But they're going to say, I am tired of paying my tax money. I am tired of support. I'm tired of serving in the military. I am not going to put my time, money, and effort into a system that shits on me, for lack of a better word. And you're going to see more and more white men that say, I'm checking out of this system.
Few of our stories, making few of our
Everything
stories.
they wanted to do.
Because they interpret
it black.
And it's not even that Trump, signed a law saying you can't hire black people, but this is the way people are complying.
Well, that's just, it's always been in them. They're like, just give us the go. Just give us the go. No blacks, ha ha! But they're not going to touch the NFL and the NBA.
Oh, no.
Because I was hoping, I think you should fire all of them too, and we form our own league.
Right.
They were like, well, don't touch the NFL.
No, wait, hold on now. Don't get too
We don't
crazy
want the score to be 1-3.
Right.
We got
hold
still
on
need
now.
dunks and
Don't
stuff.
go crazy.
Jesus, who's going to catch them? We don't want to. Yeah, you notice sports was
They left it alone.
untouched.
Untouched.
Yeah, this is another thing about sports. And like I said, it's the same thing I talk about women. There's no doubt about it. I have anger issues with white women. I don't really have any anger issues with black women or Asian women because they're just different. And when they're different, that means they're separated. And it's like if you said, David, what do you think about the black people in Africa? I wish them the best of luck. Why? I don't have a problem with people in Africa. What do you think about people in Japan? Best of luck to them. I mean, I don't know. Why would I have a problem with them? So that's kind of how I look at my main problem is with white men and white women. So now we're going to talk about the sports team. I think it's a waste of time. I mean, after I left America, I wasn't really big into the Super Bowl. I don't go to the NBA. I think a lot of these white guys that are fans, I mean, think about the term fan. It's a very cuck term. Women are fans. You as a father figure, you as a soldier, you want your children and your wife to be fans, right? You want your child to say, Daddy, you're my hero. You want your wife to say, boy, you're my Roman gladiator. That makes sense. But for a man to be a fan, it needs to be something special. You could still be a fan as a man to another grown man, but I could say I'm a fan of George Washington, right? Our first president, our commander-in-chief, the founder of America. I could, absolutely. But when I see these grown white men or whatever, these young white kids, and they're wearing the jersey of the black athlete or whatever, and they go to the NFL, the NBA, and even worse is they got the white girlfriend wearing the jersey of the black athlete. So first, they spend their time, money, and effort. They spend their money to buy this bullshit ticket, jersey, their time and their effort to go there. And they're cheering for a team like, yeah, man, I want the New York Giants to win. Like, I give a shit because they're all corporations. It's all corporate bullshit. And there's the girlfriend who's wearing the jersey that you bought of the black athlete. I don't blame black people. They're smart. It makes sense if you're a black athlete. They're like, dude, why are you wasting your time playing basketball or football? I don't know. I'm making millions of dollars doing it. Okay, that makes sense. But the white guy in the stand, what are you doing here? I'm a fan of LeBron James. You're a faggot. You're a faggot. If that was my father, I couldn't even imagine that was my father wearing the jersey, along with my mom, the jersey of Michael Jordan. Like, now I'm not saying, watch this. I'm a boxer. And I have watched, and I don't go to these sporting events, but for instance, Mike Tyson. I've watched Mike Tyson box. And I can say, regardless of race, the skill level, it's impressive. There's no doubt about it. Would I say I'm a fan of Mike Tyson? I don't know. It's hard. Maybe you're putting me on the spot. I've always said that one of the best boxers I've seen is Tommy Morrison. Horrible story what happened to him with HIV. And there is a part of him being a white guy. But I would look at him. I should do a video of this, but I'll tell you, Tommy Morrison, obviously, my background. I'm a boxer. But Tommy Morrison was a gunslinger. That guy would go and hit. Horrible ending, though, in many ways. But I get the part about white men. We definitely can cheer for that pure competency level. But I'm not necessarily a fan. I've done more boxing than watching boxing. So if you like football, play football. And if you're like, yeah, but I'm not good enough for the NFL, well, I don't know. You have a backyard. You have a football. Play with your kids. So athleticism is great, training. Maybe you're just going to play at the high school level or whatever your kids. But when you're a fan, where you're devoting time, money, and effort to be the bitch boy of these professional athletes. And yeah, some of them are just, I'm not just saying they're non-whites, but even politically, they're like, Black Lives Matter. These type of white men with their white girlfriend wearing the jersey, the word pathetic comes to my mind. It's just pathetic. I just don't. So, and I'm from upstate New York, and that's where Mike Tyson was. That's where I'm from. I was from the Catskills. So Mike Tyson was kind of very popular there. We knew about this strong black kid that was just knocking out people. And there was no doubt about it. I've seen a lot of videos of Mike Tyson from, you could say, studying him. And I think he's a phenomenal boxer. But I've never been a fan per se, not just from him, anything. All I'm saying is, if you're a man, be very careful to be a fan. You can be a student depending on what you are. I've been a student of many things. And I don't want to change the story, but when I see these NBA, NFL, or whatever, and I see these white guys that probably should do more time in their life spending time with their children, their wives, or maybe just working on themselves, but they spend more time being a fan of this sports team. It's just kind of pathetic in my mind. I've never been like that. Again, the last Super Bowl that I watched, I don't know, 20 years ago, haven't missed a thing. I'm fine. If I never watch a Super Bowl for the rest of my life again, I'm fine. It doesn't really add value to me.
Yeah, I know.
Because I said, why don't we? How come it's still black? Why is the NFL still 70? You know what I'm saying? Because whenever they're benefiting monetarily, sexually, or whatever, that's when it's good. But if we have autonomous happiness, then it's like, oh,
you gotta end that.
You ever see at a restaurant when black people are by themselves happy? They go, they're making a lot of noise. They go, you are too.
Right.
You were too. It's like,
and you're complaining.
Right.
And you're complaining.
Right. But it's like when they see us, they say, get out of here. Okay, we'll get out of here. Get out of our town. Okay, we'll go build our own. Let's go burn that. What are they doing?
Yeah, we gotta burn it. Right.
Because we're running rent free in their heads every day. We run rent free.
Yeah.
This is all facts.
What do you think the long-term impact is going to be with affirmative action?
Hey, I see you, Rachel Hall. Good to have you back again. When I lived in Germany, it was really pathetic. And they said the only time the Germans would ever have a sense of patriotism was on a Fußballspiel, which would be a soccer match. And it's just pathetic, but it's the only time, World Cup where they get together and they have some type of, but it's interesting. Like I said, the German citizens who are not of German ethnicity, like the Turkish, we said this before, like the Turkish people living in Germany with German citizenship, guess what team are they rooting for? Oh, they're rooting for the Turkish team, even though they're German citizens, which goes to my point. What's more important, your citizenship or your race? But it is pathetic. A lot of times I've seen, especially in Europe, the only time that they have a sense of patriotism is watching a fucking soccer game. It's just really pathetic.
And the removal of affirmative action.
I mean, so I'll give you Harvard, for instance.
Okay.
The class the last affirmative action class at Harvard before the ruling went through had about 14% black, and when I went, it was 6% black. So it improved to get close to parity in our population. But it was 27% Asian. Asian Americans, Asian people are.
Yeah, I would be very careful. This is what my time at Harvard. When I was at Harvard, I spent a lot of time with the Jews. There is a big Jewish community at Harvard. So I would be very careful when MAGA says, it doesn't matter the race, religion. We just want the smartest people in colleges. We just want the most competent people in companies. I disagree with that. I just disagree, because it's the same thing with ethno-states. Your race comes first. Because if you look, for instance, in colleges and say, we don't care anything about race, whoever's the smartest gets in, well, they're going to be filled with Jews and Asian. I mean, is that what you want? Again, I don't have a problem with Jews. I get the whole Jewish thing and free speech. You can say whatever you want on this about Adolf Hitler. But the point being is I would say that generally speaking, America, along with Europe, is a European country. And if that means a European has lower test scores than a non-European, well, then I guess then it is what it is. But if you're like, but I'm from Africa, I'm from Asia, I'm from India, and I have higher test scores than the white guy, And you MAGA people said the best gets in. Well, I'm not MAGA. I've always said that. I'm a nationalist, but I'm not MAGA. So then I would rather take dumber white people to go in there. But you hear a lot of these MAGA dumb fucks are like, man, whoever's the best is the best. They compare it to sports teams, which is why I don't go to sports games anymore. I would rather go out to a football or soccer or basketball, and I would rather spend my time, money, and effort supporting a team that is racially, politically, religion, whatever, that represents who I am. And they lose versus a team that, I don't know what these fuck. I mean, look at like the French soccer team. None of these people are French. You know, they're all from Africa. I would rather than support the losing team than support the winning team that I don't even have any resemblance with. So I say that again, but I could tell you at Harvard, be very careful. These stupid MAGA people like, man, let's just get rid of affirmative action and the best person wins. It doesn't matter whatever race. No, I don't agree with that. That school is going to be flooded with Indians, Chinese, Jews, and it is what it is. But this is the difference between an ethno-state, which is, again, that's Israel and the non-Western world, and white people, where we just continue to fail to recognize that race is important. And I would rather, even if I was in a company and hiring a company, I would rather get a less qualified white guy. I'm not saying across the board everything. I've always said I think a little diversity is a strength. I've always said it's about 1 to 5%. There's studies on this. I think a little diversity is okay. But generally speaking, I would rather have a less qualified person that's a better fit, cultural fit. You know, that's why I don't want to work in a fucking company that all of a sudden I just jokingly say the word nigger and now I get lawsuits. I would feel more comfortable being around people that I feel like are family. That's how the company is. And I'd say, all right, versus a firm where extremely highly qualified people, but is it a cultural fit? And that's what I've said many times. I totally disagree with these MAGA fucks, these dumb Republicans. Like, it's time to get rid of race. The best man wins, the most qualified man wins, right? And because they always compare that with sports teams. Look at the sports teams. It doesn't matter what race you are. The best basketball player, the best football player, and that's it. Well, and that's why I don't go to sports. I don't support sports at all. I'm not going to go to the fucking New York Giants. You know, when I grew up, the New York Giants, even though it's a fucking corporation anyway, but at least when I grew up as a young child, it resembled, I guess you could say, who I am more than now. But if these professional sports teams, and they don't stand for who we are, they don't look like who we are, they're not who we are, well, I'm not going to spend my money, time, and effort going to them. Not interested at all. And it's the same thing will happen with colleges and companies. If you're like the stupid MAGA, it doesn't matter who you are. The most qualified person wins. Well, then I hope you like living in a world full of Asians and Indians and Jews, because that's going to be your future.
5% of the country, but they were 27% of that incoming class. After affirmative action, those numbers are roughly the same.
Same, right.
The numbers of white men have gone down.
Yeah.
And so it hasn't worked out. And so now you're seeing the Stephen Millers of the world look at these elite universities and not see the number of white men increasing. And now they want those universities investigated. But what they're leaving out of the story is that for a generation, people like Stephen Miller, people like the late Charlie Kirk, have been telling white men, don't go to college. They've been telling them it's a waste of money. It's an indoctrination factory to
Well, I mean, I always like to say what I am an expert in and what I'm not. 4% of the American public has 1 master's degree. I have 4 master's degrees. So I could speak from experience of academia. And I've said this many times, academia is overrated. So I think Charlie Kirk, and again, I think a lot of what Charlie Kirk was saying is on it, but there's stuff I just disagree. But I think if I remember, Charlie Kirk was telling young white boys, don't go to college, get a skill or a trade. I totally agree. So let's not confuse 2 terms. One term is called academia. The other term is called education. And we've all heard that term about, I went to school I got educated in the school of hard knocks, like real life. So I think education is underrated. I think academia, 4 master's degrees, overrated. So I do believe, do you need to go to college? Maybe, but I still believe in some type of formal education. Maybe you want to learn plumbing, electrician, meaning some of it could be like a blue collar skill, but I still believe there's a value to learn skills like finance, like law. But do you really need to go to these 4 or 7 year programs? No. So the point is like, hey, David, I want to learn finance. Okay, well, you got to do your 4-year bachelor's degree, then you got to do a master's degree for 2 years. Fuck it, probably 1 year. They should be able to do it like a specialized program where you focus on finance for 1 year, or like computer programming. So I'm not saying even the white collar skills are overrated. STEM, the math and technology and engineering. But this sort of academia where you're in there for 4 years, then you're doing a graduate degree, then you're doing a PhD, I think it can be more focused. And I think about 50% of what people are studying in colleges, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. So my theory is very simple. I think education is underrated. You know who gave me a pretty good education? It's China. I've learned a lot in China, meaning you could say real world. But I believe academia, along with the price tag of going to these schools, I would say overrated. I think that's what Charlie Kirk was talking about. And if it is, then we are in agreement. I think a lot of young white men are wasting their lives going to college. And you're probably better suited to ask yourself, what skill set do I want to learn? And that may still mean that you need to go in some formalized study session. I want to learn economics, and you're going to learn. I still believe there's a value in these social sciences, even something like law. But do I feel like sometimes you have to go to like bachelor's degree, then you do 3 years of law school and you do this? Maybe better like apprenticeship programs. Like if you really want to be a lawyer, even though I think there's too many fucking lawyers, the system's run by lawyers, it's destroying our system. But if you want to be maybe apprenticeship, you join a law firm at 18 years old and you just sort of do an apprenticeship. But I do think most white men are wasting their lives doing the normal college program. You're wasting your time, money, and effort.
Turn you into a liberal, to make you woke. And so white men are self-selecting out of college. And so now when you open up the opportunity to go to Harvard, the people who are prepared to go to Harvard, who are busting their ass in high school trying to get good grades, are immigrant kids who they're chasing away. The international student body is plummeting. And that's what keeps these schools open, because the international.
Oh, yeah, and that's another thing I realized too at Harvard. These universities, they're not places of education anymore. They're businesses. These are global corporations, and they love international students for a couple reasons. One, international students pay full price. When you're an American citizen, there's still sometimes in-state tuition, there's reduced fees. But if you're a foreign student, you pay top fees, and there's no loans. They don't give you student loans. You're not American, so you pay. So to many of these top universities that attract the Chinese, the Indians, it is a cash cow. Is it a national security threat? I've said that many times. Absolutely. These Chinese and Indians, they're coming there. It will turn into a national security threat. So why isn't anything done? Or a corporation, to include the universities. They love these students. It's a cash cow.
Students like our parents, the government paid their bill. Yeah. They weren't paying for it. My father got his education because the government of the Congo paid for it, then Zaire. Yeah. And so when you take the kids coming from China, that full payment from the Chinese government is gone. And the American kids who need student loans, who in many cases aren't even prepared for college, you're now whittling it down and you're expecting white men to carry the burden. I mean, if I was a white guy, I'd be kind of offended. You want me to be all the pilots. You want me to be all the people in the Defense Department. You want me to do all the jobs. I got to be every job. I got to go to all the Harvards. I got to do all these things. And I've been told for a generation, don't even go to college at all. So a lot of these guys are not even prepared.
And
So
a lot
they're
of
not
them
even
are
qualified.
But there's a lot that qualified. A lot of them are mediocre anyway.
So they weren't prepared. And so
They're
it's
not
like
prepared.
they expected that this would mean that Harvard would now be like 80% white men. It isn't. The majority of college students in America are women. More white women go to college than white men. And so now when they're looking at it, they're
That's also something that changed my mind in China. I realized America, it's not a patriarchy, it's a matriarchy. And I said many times, if we live in a system where women can vote, I'm not against women voting. What I am, it's leadership 101. I know we get to college, is this. It's the problem with white men. We have to hold women to standards. If you're a woman and you believe women deserve the right to vote like men, that means you want to share power with men. That's what equality is about. It's about power. That means you're a feminist. I don't have a problem with feminists on paper, but if you're a feminist, that means everything you will pull the same weight as men. But we know the truth, women don't. Women want the benefits of feminism, equality, but then they also want to be treated like traditional women. And the only reason they're allowed to get away with this, it's like a spoiled daughter. It's because the father is a weak cock. And I tell women, it's time for men to put you on the spot. I don't care, because trust me, if we do go full bore feminism, women, I mean, we don't have full, but we have what's called fake feminism in America. It's called fake feminism. So when women want equality, when it's in their favor, and then they want traditional when it's in their favor. And it's a fucking ping pong. I've said many times, it's like women with sexual harassment. You could take the same women and two different men. One man will just say he's a stud, and the other man is not very attractive. They say the same thing. They look at the woman and say, hey, sweetheart, hey, cupcake, you look pretty fine in those jeans right there. I'd like to get a piece of you. And the attractive man, the woman will be like, oh my God, you're overboard, you're so hot, whatever. And the creepy man, sexual harassment. We know that. It's a ping pong. We don't know the standards. So the point is women have to decide, because men need to hold you to the standard. It's part of West Point leadership. You hold your soldiers to the standard. If you want to be traditional, I'll do it. If you want to be feminist, we'll do it. The truth is, if we hold women to the standard of feminism, totally, 100% down the line, it will be women, not men, who say, we're done, we don't want this. For example, transsexuals in women's sports. I believe there should be one sport, men, women, transsexuals, all together. That's called feminism. But women don't want that. They want, like I said, they want the good part of feminism, but they want to be true. And cuck white men constantly says, okay, we need to, it's meaning you can't get your cake and eat it. You can't say women need to be powerful. Women need to be protected. Women are powerful. No, we have to protect women. No, women, we need to empower women. We protect, no. Traditional societies, women are protected, and we will protect you, but you have to give up your right to vote. You can't vote in society, but we will protect you. You will be a protected class. Men, we're fucked. We've always been fucked. We're dog meat. It is what it is. Women, you'll be, but you have to give up your right to vote. Or I don't give a shit. You want the right to vote? Then it's like we're fucking cucks. Okay, it's like we're dealing with blacks and goops and niggers. Okay, you want to vote, fine, but that means you want to share power with men. That means I don't look at you anymore like a woman. I look at you as a human being. That's what feminism, right? There's no more gender. We're human beings. It's the same thing when we go to the bathroom. There's no more male and female latrine or bathroom. It's just a human being. Same thing with sports. Same thing with the military draft. You're going to get drafted like men, and you're going to go to the front lines. Who do you think is going to raise their hands first to say, I want out? Men or women? Women will. Women will. Who has allowed these women, like a spoiled daughter, to get their cake and eat it? It's not the women's fault. It's the cuck men. So when Donald Trump says, we need to protect women. Oh, no, Donald, you fucking 5-time draft dodger. We live in a feminist society. Why? Because women can vote. If women can vote, we live in a feminist society. Women are not protected. If you are a man and you marry your wife and your wife says, we share power, and when my husband makes a decision, he's got to consult with me and we do together, then you just married a feminist and you're going to get a divorce. You know what a wife says? Who makes decisions in your marriage? The man. He's the boss. He's the boss. Yeah, boss, general, emperor, lord of lords, whatever adjective you want. He's the fucking man. But I'm protected, the woman. That's how it works. So I'm telling you again, if you want the right to vote, you have to take responsibility. Some women won't want to do. But if you're willing to take responsibility, I don't think you will. But whatever. We'll play this cuck game because white men are the biggest cucks in the world. So let's play this cuck game. But if you're willing to play this cuck game that says, we want equality and we're going to take equal responsibility, okay, then let's do it. That's why I don't support this bullshit of protecting women in sports. If a transsexual wants to play sports with you and they break your fucking neck and you're paralyzed and they break your jaw because they're too much muscular, welcome to the feminist world. That's what you women wanted because you want your right to vote. But if you give up your right to vote, everything changes then. Everything changes. You are absolutely a protected class. But I'm not going to be one of these cuck guys. Okay, women want equality. No, they got to be protected. No, they don't want equality. No, they got to be protected. Same thing with sexual harassment. If you give up your right to vote, you will not have any sexual harassment. You're not going to walk around like fucking whores, though, and do your stuff, but you will be protected. The problem with women is this. Here's Leadership 101. We'll get back to the video. Remember these two things, if I remember to men. Women, in general, don't know what the fuck they want. They don't know what they want. And then literally, if you interview women, what do you want in a man? What do you want in a society? What do you want in a company? They're not good at leadership. So women genetically don't really know what they want. Men do. If you understand leadership, you should know exactly what you want. That's why Donald Trump, he's going to fuck this war up. You think we know what we're doing in Iran? Fuck no. Why? Because we have little dick white men running. But if we had General Patton running America, he would either say, one, we are not getting in this war, or two, we know exactly what it is. If you're a man, you should know exactly what you want. So rule number one, women don't know what the fuck they want in life. They don't. Never ask women what they find attractive to men, because what women say they find attractive and who they fuck are usually not the same. So rule number one, women don't know what the fuck they want. They don't know what they don't know what they want to do when they grow up for work. They don't know what they want to do for love. They don't know what they want for men. They talk a lot. They don't know. And then rule number two is, if you're a man and you listen to a woman for advice, you're a cuck. That's like a father saying, son, I know you're 10 years old, but I need some advice. And now you're getting an argument with he's a child. You don't fucking do that. You're the man, you're the father. He's a 10-year-old kid. You take charge. That's how it works with men and women. The man is the leader. He takes charge. He doesn't listen to what a woman says. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, women don't even know what the fuck they want to do. And that's why I'm making the argument. I'm fine. If you're a woman and you want the right to vote, take the fucking right to vote. I'm a white guy. I've got the littlest dick in the fucking world. That's why we're white men. We have the smallest dicks in the world. We'll do anything. We with black people, we are the biggest cucks in the world. If you want to vote, fine. But you want equality. All we're saying is hold the fucking line. It's not your fault, too. Believe me, this talk is not about women. White women, you have done zero wrong. It is all about white men. That's the point. So this thing about voting, you either vote, but you take responsibility, which you never will. You never will. We know that. Well, then we're going back to fucking traditional. But that's the thing. So if you see these dumb MAGA people like, we've got to protect women, no more transsexuals in sports, and don't give a shit, because you want to know why. Women were never meant to be elite athletes. They suck. They suck at athletes. I mean, you could take, I'm 50 years old right now. I bet you I could step in the ring. I don't even know who the heavyweight boxing champion women is. I don't even know if there is such a thing as women boxing. Not like I follow it. I bet you I could step in the ring now and either knock her out or at least hold my own, still at 50 years old, of whoever the woman is. What am I trying to say? You women suck at athletics anyway. You're never going to be that good anyway. So quit and be something you are going to be good at. What is that called? Motherhood. Become a mother. That's your superpower, is to be a mother. Your superpower is not athletic. You suck. I mean, really, any of you guys played high school sports? Did you play college sports? Did you see the women's team? They suck. We all know that. They suck. So I don't give a shit. Put transsexuals, and they're like, but if we put transsexuals in women's sports, then women are just going to quit the sport because they can't. Then quit. It's the best advice to you. And probably say, maybe soccer, whatever, basketball, volleyball, maybe that wasn't your destiny. Maybe God didn't put you on this earth. And maybe you're like, well, if I can't play sports, what can I do? I don't know. Maybe be a mother. Maybe that's it. Become a mother. But like I said, I have no issues with white. Well, actually, I do. I do have a lot of anger for white women. But it always comes back to cuck white men. It's always the same thing. It always comes back. Let's keep going and talking with these Negroes.
Not getting the white man bonanza they expected, and the Stephen Millers of the world are mad about it.
And he needs to go that little.
The Hague. That's one place he should be. The Hague.
He thinks he's so dope. And I think there's a lot of, did you notice the first person to get a PhD is W.B. Du Bois, right?
Du Bois, yeah.
But
at Harvard.
If you notice when you were in Harvard, there was just legacy people where they were like dumb people.
Absolutely.
It's like, you dumb as hell.
Some of the dumbest people I met in the world were people at Harvard who were legacies. The smartest people I met, Ketanji Brown Jackson, I went to college with her. She was a year behind me. Smartest person I ever met. Her roommates, geniuses. Genius, all four of them. Because they had to work 10 times as hard
just to get in.
Get in. Whereas the legacy kids, they didn't go to class. They were high. They were smoking weed because they didn't have to even get good grades. It didn't matter. They grade on a curve at Harvard, so they weren't going to fail. I got E's. When I'm talking about failing, I got an E. They didn't give you an F because they made it on a curve, and they try to keep you in. They put you on academic probation, et cetera. These guys go from academic probation to a ritzy job on Wall Street. Even if they passed no classes, these people didn't work. They didn't try. They didn't have to do anything but play lacrosse on the weekends and chill and get high. We're producing a group of people who are coming out of Harvard who are no more educated than had they not gone at all, because they didn't have to even read a book while they were there, because they're legacies.
It's all smoke
and they
and
don't
mirrors.
deserve to be there.
At all.
In high school.
At all.
And yet they had the name. I mean, I went to college with a woman whose name was on one of the buildings. Of course she got in.
So what we're seeing right now is the same thing, this sort of victimhood. This thing's almost over, and then we're going to have two short clips to kind of rebuke this whole white supremacy, even though by now, I mean, sooner or later, you don't have to live in China to realize this. Sooner or later, white people in Europe, in America, are going to realize this whole thing is bullshit. And what do I mean by that? White men spoil women, racial minorities, and immigrants. I had to go to China because, like I said, I left America in 2010. I was a different person. If you would have asked me these topics of racism and the patriarchy, again, I had just come out of Harvard. I think I would have been a little bit like, yeah, we got a racist problem in America. We need to work on it, meaning white men. And yeah, I really was. But I think in the near future, you don't have to go overseas. I think you're going to start seeing these problems in America. You're going to say, David, I don't need to go to kooky China. I don't need to go to fucking Africa. I see this here. This country, because you got to remember, I'm older. So the older generations, just like the baby boomers, they grew up in a country that was mostly white, that was more patriarchal, that was more Christian. Now, if you're a young white American kid growing up now, I don't know where you're growing up to. I mean, there could be instances, you're a white kid, you could grow up already as a racial minority in your school. Christianity's done. And you're also seeing how powerful women are. So that's also different, meaning the younger children in America, we're talking white kids, are growing up now in a very different world than older generations are. They're growing up in a world that's less white, that's less Christian, that's less freedom, that's less male-oriented power. And they're starting to realize this is a fucking problem, where it took older generations maybe to leave America.
name is on a building.
All right, because her family, she's a legacy.
Her family is a
Yeah.
legacy. So it's like that person, is that person smarter than Ketanji? No. But that person gets to get it and no one questions their presence.
None.
No one says, is that okay? But they say that this affirmative action genius kid from Ohio somewhere that busted their ass in high school doesn't belong there simply because they're black. That's America.
Yeah, and you've had this interesting thing talking about the United States and just kind of the things that are going on now. You've talked about dictators from other countries getting killed after they tried to stop trading with U.S. currency. Explain that and what happens diplomatically with the U.S. and other countries who might try to do things differently than the way the U.S. expects them to.
Right, and again, it's talking context, right? Saddam Hussein was evil, but when he was our guy that we were using as a prop to fight Iran, he was our guy. We were paying for him. We were propping him up and keeping him in power, despite how cruel he was to his own people. We didn't care. He used our chemical weapons to bomb.
So we're going to end it here. We're going to do it. But what I'm saying is, what they are saying at the end is true. And what am I saying by this? We're going to end it because I'm going to do the last two videos. And it's like, what do you mean, David? What do you mean true? At the end of the day, if you destroy the white man, you'll destroy the West. And I've said this many times. The number one enemy aren't black people. Are you really kidding me? I mean, do you really think black people are the number one enemy? Do you even really think feminism is the enemy? I would say what she's talking about. I said it before and I wrote in the book, this entity called the globalist government and the globalist corporations who support this communist ideology of feminism, of multiculturalism, of this anti-white rhetoric. But the power, you got to go with who has the money, who has the influence. Oh, it's the government and it's these corporations. So, and I've said that, and then I've even said that too with far left. I've never said that, well, it's obvious, meaning the ideology of the far right and the far left, we're not the same, but they're not our number one enemy. We're not, now we're in the long term, we can't live together. But I would say this is where the dumb MAGA people are like, you know what's destroying this country? Those liberals. And then the dumb liberals like, you know what's destroying this country? Those Nazis. Most Nazis in America and most liberals in America, they don't have money and power. I would say focus on the money. Who's got the money? And I would start looking at these globalist government and the globalist corporations and entities. And if you'd say, yeah, but isn't that with Israel and the Jews? Well, I'm not going to deny that. And again, free speech, let's go. But I would say go with where the money is. But I've said many times, you cannot have a nation where your competing ideology is globalism. Now, the reason that I've always said Donald Trump is the best president in my entire lifetime, though he's dropping, is I found him to be the most nationalist president that I've ever seen. Going to war with Iran is not a nationalist thing. I mean, meaning that this whole war in Iran is just a deviation of nationalism. And there's other things he's doing that I'm not a big fan of. But I keep saying, if you want to lose a nation, well, adopt globalism as your competing ideology. Whereas in Israel and in the non-Western countries, they're nationalists. I can see it. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, I'm never, like in China, I'm never going to have influence. Zero. I mean, the amount of xenophobia they have for foreigners. China, not just the Chinese government, but the Chinese people, belongs to the Chinese people. We can't say that in the West. Does Europe belong to the Europeans? I mean, we could say it, but it's not happening. Does America belong to our founding fathers who fought? I get the whole Native American thing. Sorry, there was genocide. We talked about it before, but can you really say America belongs to the white man? You could say it, but it's not happening. So the part is if we have, and it's the same thing, like I said, with the MAGA people, there still is, our ideology is still run by globalism. And eventually nationalism will dissolve. And when nationalism dissolves, well, then the nation dissolves. But the point is living in America, I thought that was just the ideology of everyone. Because again, I lived in Europe, and that's Europe. No, that's not that way. And not meaning, look at even Japan. Japan is willing to hinder their economy, meaning lose money, but keep their people, their culture, their society, their country, because their competing ideology isn't a globalist corporation. That's basically America. All we are about is the money. And so the part is, when you live in these non-Western worlds, you realize, no, now I realize what is the difference. And I say that. I believe the war is nationalism versus globalism. You could say the rich versus the poor in some ways. Why? Because the rich are becoming more and more, meaning if the American system is so good, and two things are happening. One, the money continues to get accumulated in the top 1%. It continues to get accumulated. What is going to happen? Now we're going to have a guy like Elon Musk. And again, I've always said, I'm not a total fan of Elon Musk. This is the same cocksucker who suspended me 3 times on X. But you're telling me, and supposedly he's going to become a trillionaire. So the future of America is the top 1% of America is going to continue to accumulate wealth. That's capitalism. That the future of America is a continued percentage decrease in the white population. This system's not working. We all know it. But in the non-Western world, without a doubt, China will sacrifice their economy 100% to keep China Chinese. These are some of the most racist, xenophobic people I've ever met, and that's not a negative statement. What I'm saying is they will put the Chinese people and the Chinese nation before money. I think in America, it's just a fucking globalist corporation. We don't care. We just really don't care. And we keep fooling ourselves. This is capitalism, man. If you don't like it, you're just this is not. This is fucking globalist capitalism. This is oligarchy. This is nepotism. This is corporate cronyism. This is not capitalism anymore. So anyway, that's what I would say. So I do want to say that, and that's where I look to the black people, or if you're the white people, but I, by all means, never would look at the black people as you're the primary enemy. No way. I would just look at the black people, similar like I do with the Chinese, and just say, we are a different people. I don't believe, at least from that I'm going to say I'm better than you're better than me, but we are different. Race is real. Gender is real. That's all we're saying. Race is real. We're just saying we're different. And because we're different, we probably need to be separated. What would that be? Either one, we should help out. This is where I do believe in reparations. We should help out black people re-immigrate back to Africa. We'd be happy to help you out. Or maybe we're just going to have to separate in America like a civil war. I don't know. There's going to be 2 or 3 states, and they're going to be black states. I'm not saying that it's got to be 100% black, 100% white. But when it comes to racial diversities, anything more than 5%, you're getting into problems. So that's what I'm just saying. But black people, they're not the number one enemy, but we're just not the same. I believe in race. So I would support reparations, meaning helping you out to relocate back to your homeland. I mean, aren't you proud of Africa? Don't you want to go home? Or for the black Americans who don't want to leave America, eventually we're going to have to split. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. We know that. And more white people are going to realize, as the white population continues to go down, then it's not about working together. It's going to be about survival. It's going to be about white survival. People are going to really know. Now, what I want to do is I want to do 2 videos real quick. Yeah, Rachel Hawk, globalism dead, poisoning us, feudalism, modern day. I mean, that's what I look at America when these dumb MAGA people, like when you go against the system, like, what are you, anti-capitalism? This is not capitalism, oh, you stupid fucks. This is not. I work for Amazon. You know what Amazon wants to do? Destroy all the small business entrepreneurs, which are that, and fucking make it one big corporation where there's no competition. That's not capitalism. Because in order to have capitalism, you have to have 2 things. 1, you have to have fair competition. But 2, you have to have patriotism toward nationalism. So America comes first. Now we have a company, like I said, even if they said, listen, it's time to be patriotic. It's time to buy American. What the fuck's American? What is American anymore? What, the Apple iPhone? I work for Apple in fucking China. I don't even know what American is anymore. You know, so we could go on to it, but we don't have capitalism anymore. We don't have a capitalist system. Now, back to the blacks. As sad as it's going to sound, I've learned this in China. When I hear the word white supremacy, I don't think of white people. I think of non-white people who, I'm sorry, it's not my problem, it's yours. You look upon white people as supreme. I've said many times, what are Asian women's 3 wishes? White man, white passport, white kids. It's their dream. And so in general, like, you know, an African, their dream is to immigrate to America. Their dream is to learn English. Their dream is to go to Harvard. You, non-whites, look upon whites as supreme. I mean, don't you think I'm wrong? How many times does a white kid in America thinking, my dream is to immigrate to Africa? I really want to learn an African language. I really want to go to an African university. Never heard of it? I don't know, less than 1%. How many times have you heard, look at the people coming to America, legally or illegally, same thing with Europe. A lot of people, non-whites, Asian, Indian, African, South American, and they are willing to risk their lives, illegal immigration, to get to the West. And then as soon as they get there, they're like, I want myself a white man. I want myself a white woman. I want myself a white passport. I want to get white kids. I want to learn a white language. It's called English, a European language. I want to go to white university. That's white supremacy. You believe white people are supreme. I think you're very racist. I think you should reevaluate yourselves. And I think Africa is great. Asia is great. South America is great. You think it's a shithole. That's not my problem. I think you should reconsider. I think you should stop being a white supremacist and think to yourself, you know something? I agree with you, David. I actually think Egypt, assuming you're an Egyptian, Egypt is a great country. The Egyptian universities are great. Egyptian women are beautiful. There you go. Now you're learning leadership 101. Stop being a white supremacist and chasing blonde hair, blue-eyed women. Respect your Egyptian mother. We're using Egypt as an example. So I say again, who are the white supremacists in the world? They're not white people. I think I'm wrong. Two quick clips.
Right. I'm not going to give you
1 second here. Now, I don't want to be rude, but well, I've said before, beauty is in the eye of the beholders. If you ask the beholders in the world, who are the most beautiful looking men and women, it's unanimous. White men and white women. I didn't force it. And then, in the eyes of the beholder, who are the least attractive men and women? Black women and Asian men. It's not me saying it. That's in the eyes of the beholder. But in this video here, this same Negro from Nigeria, I'm not a fan of him. He's a nigger. Remember, he immigrated from Nigeria to America, which means he's a white supremacist and he got a lotto ticket. He hit the lotto to come to America. And he thinks it's a good idea to shit on white men. Go back to Nigeria, my Negro. But, same guy. Now, there's some black women in this video. And I agree, it's very rude what I'm going to say. And I don't enjoy saying this, but this is the topic. I also view these women not very attractive. Is it a one-off or is it in general? Well, in general, I've said again, black women are just not that high on the ranking of attractiveness. The same thing like Asian men. If you disagree with that, then change the rankings. Talk to people in the world. Convince them that Asian men are attractive. Convince men that black women are attractive. You do it. But this clip alone, boy, it really emphasizes my point. Here we go.
Says she doesn't date black men. It's pretty hilarious, though.
Is it a fat white lady?
No,
you know it's a fat black woman. He can't wait to show us an ugly fat black woman.
Damn right.
I'm not going to give you the response that you want.
Right. So what he's saying here, there's 2 black women in this clip. One is, as you're seeing, I'm sure she's got a great personality. I'm just personally not physically attracted to her. But there's another black woman in this clip, and this black woman says she's only attracted to white men. Like I said, if you go around the world and you ask all women in the world who is the most attractive men, guess what? White men. If you go around the world and ask men who are the most attractive women, white women will come out. Some people would say, That's just because of colonization. You could use whatever excuse you want. That's the fact. Can it change? Maybe. You change. I mean, I don't give a shit. I'm a white man, so I guess it's good for me. I mean, I got better things to do. That's how it is. If you are jealous, meaning black people, Asian people, if you're jealous, then you work on your own people and change it. But that's how it is. Personally, have I seen the same thing? Well, this clip has 2 black women in it. One of the black women says she's only attracted to white men, and you be the judge. It is true though. I have met attractive-looking black women, but what we're trying to do is on average, just like I'm saying, there are attractive-looking Asian men, but what are on average? So on average, the white man and the white woman are at the highest level. But we all agree there's some ugly white men and ugly white women. But on average, don't look at me. It's beauty is in the eyes of the beholder and that. But I could tell you in Asia, oh, it's without a doubt. It's fucking, I mean, if you're a white man, obviously I haven't lived in America a long time, but I could tell you in Asia, if you're a white man and we're talking average, just average, and you are not having a very, very good sex life, whatever, girlfriend, whatever that, that social life with women, if you're not having a really easy and good life with women, something is wrong with you. Because I can tell you something, Asian women love white men. That's the truth. And so let's just look at these women here.
You know she's gonna play.
First of all, I wish you would play this mother video.
Play it.
My preference, I don't celebrate Black History Month. I don't do it. I don't care. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't talk about Black history in here. My preference is only to date Caucasian women only.
You can't take nothing seriously that the woman's saying. Her brains is all over the place. I do the same. The nigga.
No, but her shit was like, I didn't know who she was talking to.
She
didn't either.
Her hair looked like the nigga from Hey Arnold. You know
Gerald?
who you don't see in that video? Her home care attendant. The attendant said, listen, I'm going to you get every day, you get an hour worth of internet time.
So that was video number 1. And a lot of black men always like to tell me, they're like, you're just jealous because white women like us. And I'm like, we'll get to video number 2. But I don't think black men realize how much black women want white men. It is true. And like I said, I never went to Asia for the women. I've always preferred white women. I was studying Chinese just for strategic reasons. I just have an interest. China is a growing nation. But the point being is why do you see a lot of white men and Asian women, but you don't see white women and Asian men? Asian men want white women. White women don't want Asian men. So you do see more white women and black men, but you don't see many black women and white men. So is the assumption that black women don't want white men? Oh, no. I get hit on so much. Now, I'm on internet, so I'm not living in Africa, but even when I was in America, I lived in Washington, D.C. That's kind of a chocolate city. Black women love white men. In fact, I knew a black lawyer in D.C. She left America. Do you know where she moved to? And she told me straight up. She moved to Scandinavia. She moved to Sweden because she said her dream is to get a tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed man. What I'm trying to tell you is don't even assume that black women don't like white men. They love white men. The problem is white men just don't find black women attractive. That's why you see more white men with Asian women. And I've said many times, I'm not a fan of that stuff. I don't mind having sex with Asian women, but I still think if you're a white man, get yourself a nice white woman, have white kids. But I'm just saying though, white men do find Asian women attractive, or at least attractive to have sex with them. But white men in general, I mean, those were obviously those 2 black women were just one example. But in general, I say again, black women, even black men don't find Even Asian women tell me all the time. Asian women don't find Asian men attractive. Oh, the amount of stuff that they tell me, it is amazing how ruthless Asian women talk to me about Asian men. Because Asian men are also considered the least attractive men. So black men will admit it many times. They don't find black women attractive. So I say all the time to all the black women that find this to be rude, it is time for you to convince black men that you're the most beautiful. And stop having black men chase white women. Same thing with Asian men. I know it's rude, but it's time for you to convince Asian women to stop chasing white men and convince Asian women to respect their fathers and find a nice Asian man. Now, the last video we're going to show you is, again, the opposite of what we said, and it is truly about white supremacy. And who did I say are the white supremacists? Not white people, the other people. Let's watch this.
Not if she's fit. No.
Yeah. Here we come. This woman is definitely educated.
That's what I said. I said the first thing minorities buy when they make it is a white woman.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the highest status symbol.
Right. So you can't get any white girl. So it's like low hanging fruit. The fat chicks are right there.
She's got to have self-esteem issues. That's the thing.
Yeah, and that's what attracts a black man. I got me a white girl. Nobody wants.
But you got a white girl.
Yeah. But I got a white girl.
You got a white girl other black guys want.
Yeah.
Not if she's fit. No.
Yeah. And my white friends used to tell me these jokes about that. I was like, but I couldn't deny it because it was true.
Yeah.
Everything they said was true about it.
I know. People get at me because they're like, hey, Jerry. I'm like, is it true? Mm-hmm. Is it true? Okay.
I lost my virginity to a white girl. She was actually very beautiful. Remember she was? I was in the room. Like, my brother's doing it.
Yeah, I see the comment from Spartan Secure. Usually what you'll see is, if the white guy is with a black woman, she's at the top of her game. But if you see a black guy with a white woman, usually many times the white woman ain't that great. And also the black guy's at the top of his game. He's some NBA star. Why? Because usually black guys can't get white girls. But if the black guy is a multimillionaire or whatever, then the white woman, which is a prostitute in my eyes, but it is. And this bullshit, we'll just end it here and I'll do it. And what you'll hear too is with black men, they'll say, no, these are with rich, because it's usually about sports. I mean, if you take away professional athleticism, there's not many rich black guys. Maybe I'm wrong, mate, but it's usually we're talking about professional athletes. So they usually pick the white woman. And their comeback would be, it's not because of white supremacy. We just can't stand black women's attitude. And we like the submissiveness of white women. Yeah, I'll call bullshit on that. Now, I'm sure the white woman will be more feminine, submissive compared to a black woman. But I'm telling you, from a white guy, Asian women are the most fucking submissive women out there. Oh my God. I don't want to turn this channel into some like a pornography thing, but the stuff that I've done with Asian women, I can never do with a fucking white woman. I cannot tell you how submissive they are. So if the black man, his thing is, I just want a submissive woman, then why don't you get with an Asian woman? Nah, the reason he's with a white woman for the same reason is they're the highest status. It's status. And it's status in two ways. One, it's beauty, meaning you can show me the most beautiful Asian woman in the world. I should do video. They're still not even close to white women's beauty. So one is beauty. And men, unlike women, we're more simple creatures. We like beauty. And if you show a particularly blonde hair and blue eyes, a blonde hair, blue-eyed woman, every man is like goo goo gaga. So that's the number one reason that the black guy and white guys, we want white women. They are gorgeous. Yes, there's some black women that are gorgeous, Asian women. But if you compare a gorgeous white woman, no fucking way. So that's number one. Number two, though, is it is status. There's a status. And I could tell you something. Do you know how many times I have spent money dating Asian girls? Yeah, it's zero. How many times, if anyone pays on the date, who pays? The Asian woman. Now, if I'm with a lot of Asian girls, they might not have that much money. Well, then she's not paying for me, I'm not paying for her, but my big white cock is going to be her payment. But some Asian women, believe it or not, they got money. I mean, these women are they're paying for me everything. Why? Because two reasons. Well, one thing is my status is higher than hers. Why? Because I'm a white guy and she's an Asian woman. And if anyone disagrees with me, then date a fucking Asian man, and they don't. But you'll learn that. It's the same thing I'm saying with a black man. We're talking like an NBA star. He goes with that white woman first and foremost because he finds a white woman's features the most attractive. For the same reason non-white women find white men's features the same attractiveness. That's number one. Number two, though, it's not this bullshit that they're more submissive. Now, it is true. Maybe a white woman is more submissive than a black woman. That could be. Ain't fucking more submissive than an Asian woman. So if submissiveness is their number one thing, why not get an Asian woman? Because he's like, a beautiful white woman is more beautiful than an Asian woman and a fucking higher status. It might be different for you if you're a white guy raised in the West and you don't realize and you're like, I don't really see a status different, you know, a white guy, an Asian girl, aren't we all the same? Maybe, but once you're in Asia, it ain't the same. So when I am with an Asian girl, I give her what's called face. I give her status. She takes my status down and I bring her status up. If she disagrees with me, once in a blue moon, she's like, I don't fucking care that you're white or not, then date an Asian man. It doesn't happen. So I go back again to these NBA stars who are like, we're dating white women, has nothing to do with status, has nothing to do with looks. We are just tired of black women being so aggressive and we want a submissive woman. Then why aren't you with an Asian woman? Because anyone who's dated white women, I've only really dated two types of women in my life, white women and Asian women. And I'm telling you, Asian women are much more submissive than white women. The problem is white women are better looking than Asian girls. I mean, we're not talking about the ugly, but, you know, I'm saying like a hot looking white girl, a hot looking Asian girl, not even close, not even close. And two, the white woman's status is higher than the Asian girl. Don't believe me? You'll see. That is why the rich NBA black man chooses the white woman. Beauty and status. And so, my friends, I haven't seen the comments, Musi, but I'll end this when it comes to white supremacy. As I've traveled my life, I've done a lot in my life. I've lived 3 lives in one person, from the government, overseas, I've been in academia. And my conclusion is this topic of white supremacy, the conclusion is that who are truly the white supremacists in our society? They're not white people. They're not. In fact, by me going to China, I cannot tell you, I'm a fluent German speaker, so I know what it's like to learn a foreign language. I cannot tell you how difficult it was to learn the Chinese language. I mean, I read and write. I can pass for Chinese on the phone. The amount of time, money, and effort that I had to do to learn Chinese is a form of respect to the Chinese. It's a form of respect. Would you call it Asian supremacy? Not really, because I prefer to be white and I want my kids to be white. But it's a form of respect. So I know what it's like the opposite. But I could tell you, I am a very, very small minority. Why? Because the normal scenario is the non-whites, they want to study us. They want to have sex with us. They want to have kids with us. They want our passports. They want to go to our universities. They want to learn our culture, on and on and on. Because and it's unfortunate, from a psychological standpoint, it's sad. You should be proud of who you are. But I can't change them. They have to change themselves. But their minds, I don't care whether it's in Africa, whether it's in South America, whether it's in India, whether it's in Asia, they have it in their minds that white, European, the whole thing is superior. It's not me, it's them. And so white supremacy, when I think of that term, I think of non-whites. When you're a white person and you think white people is your preference, that's not supremacy. That's just normal. It's just normal. That's like saying you're an American and you like to eat hamburgers and hot dogs. Yeah, that's all right. You're an American and you prefer to speak English. You're an American and you prefer to hang out with white people. It's normal. It's not supremacy. It's called normal. But if you're from India, born and raised, and you're like, I'm Indian and I prefer to eat hamburgers and hot dogs. I prefer to study English. I prefer white women. I prefer to immigrate to America. I prefer to go to Harvard. I prefer to learn something is wrong. This is not normal. You are a white supremacist. I look at Asian people, not all Asian people, just 99.9% white supremacists. And it's sad. And I've made this many times. I wish they weren't, because it is time for nationalism. Have pride in who you are. And also that goes for white people. Have pride in who we are, because once you lose it, and we're going to lose it, sometimes it's too late to realize how good you have it. Particularly, this message is to white women. Once you lose the white man and you live in a world where you're like black men, Indian men, Asian women, you're going to be in a world of hurt and you're going to say, holy fuck, how good do white men treat me? That's why I've said my book, Patriots Betrayed. Asian women never betrayed us. Indian women never betrayed us. Black women never betrayed us. I don't have a problem with non-white women. It is what it is. I have no problem with them. Do I have a problem with white women? I have a big problem with white women, along with other things. Be thankful for what we have. We've done a lot of things. This is David Baumblatt from Terrapin's Leadership. I appreciate your time. And again, to the Patriots, Christian faith, European family, and fight for our freedom. Until then, lead to victory.